It's a big night tonight here at Johnny Talk Sports. First up, we're going to kick it off with the 2016 Week 13 NFL predictions. Then immediately following, we're going to have the Week 5 Playoff Committee ranking reaction video. So that should be an interesting topic. Maybe controversial according to some people, but it will be a fun one to discuss. Before we get to that, we got to get to the Week 13 NFL predictions. Starting off the Thursday night game, the Dallas Cowboys, who are just red hot ever since that Week 1 heartbreak against the Giants, taking on the Vikings, who are on an up and down season. I do think the Vikings are capable of winning the game, but I just can't bet against the Dallas Cowboys right now. I mean, there could be some games down the line where they lose, but I just can't go against them right now. I just can't go against them until they aren't able to prove themselves anymore. I think they're going to dominate in the second half, just like what they normally do. I mean, behind that offensive line, behind Big Zeke, I think that's going to be a huge difference in the game. All right, this is an interesting matchup. I mean, this is what some of my watchers and we've been hyped about this matchup all year long. The Kansas City Chiefs taking on my Atlanta Falcons. Now, Kansas City just pulled off a massive upset on Sunday night. I mean, that huge field goal, a game of inches, and Kansas City was short-staffed. There was no Marcus Peters, no Jeremy Maclin. They were missing a bunch of star players. But the Falcons, they're kind of an up-and-down team. I mean, you don't know what to expect out of them. But I think my Falcons are going to be able to pull it off. I think Julio Jones is going to just run wild on the secondary. That's going to be a huge matchup to see. I mean, Taylor Gabriel stepped it up last week against the Cardinals with 2 touchdowns and 75 yards. However, will the Falcons have another mid-season to end-of-season stumble like they have the last 2 to 3 seasons? I think he doesn't start here. I think they're going to pull off this win against Kansas City. The crowd in the Georgia Dome is going to be really rambunctious, and I like them to pull off this upset. Sorry to the Chiefs fans that have been hyped up for this matchup all year long. All right, next matchup, we got the Miami Dolphins, who are also one of the hot teams. They're riding a 5-game winning streak, taking on the Baltimore Ravens, who have a really strong run defense. So it's going to be interesting to see how Jay Ajayi can run against this Baltimore defense, the top rushing defense in the NFL. So I think that's going to be an interesting match to watch in this game. But in the end, though, I think Miami's winning streak is over. I think they can still make the playoff, but I think Baltimore's going to win this game. I just think Baltimore has more to play for right now because John Harbaugh could be on the hot seat if the Ravens don't make the playoffs. But we'll see. Now, this was the toughest game to predict this week, not because it's a good matchup, but because it's a horrible matchup. I mean, the 1-10 49ers taking on, like, the 2-9, 3-8 Chicago Bears. I'm picking the Bears this one because I think the 49ers is just tanking. I mean, they got to make adjustments in San Francisco somehow. I mean, Chip Kelly's first year, it's not going success, but if I were Chip Kelly, I'd be a little bit nervous because they fired Chula last year after 1 year. So San Francisco's got to get some wins here toward the end of the year, or else maybe Chip Kelly's on the hot seat for next season. Right, now this was also kind of a hard game to pick. The Philadelphia Eagles, who are up and down, and the Cincinnati Bengals, who are just depleted at this point. But it's in the jungle. I think the Bengals, I think they're going to put up a good effort in the game, but I think the difference of this game is going to be the Philadelphia running game of Wendell Smallwood and Ryan Matthews. I mean, they did pretty well against the Packers on Monday Night Football. But I just think that Philadelphia, they have more to play for. I think this is going to be a huge morale for Philadelphia. All right, the Houston Texans versus the Green Bay Packers. Now, the Packers, they had a huge win against the Eagles on Monday Night Football this past evening. However, the Packers they still have a chance of making the playoffs. In fact, however, they're only given a 7% chance to win the remaining 5 games, but a 27% chance to make the playoffs according to the ESPN analytics. But I think Green Bay can get this done. I think, as I kind of said, the game against Philadelphia, if the Packers were to win, it could be the start of another unbelievable Super Bowl run. And I think it's going to continue. I like them to get a huge win against these Texans. Although the huge matchup in this game is going to be the DeAndre Hopkins, Will Fuller, all over that banged up Packers secondary. But I think the Packers can still win the game. I think Aaron Rodgers will be Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's back in Lambeau. Should be a good game for Green Bay. Or the Denver Broncos versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm picking Denver in this one. I think they're going to come out angry because they knew they were heartbroken on Sunday night against the Chiefs. So I like them to win huge. The Los Angeles Rams versus the Patriots. Now, I don't need to talk about this one that much because the Rams, ever since that unbelievable 4-1 start, they have just been not that good. It's just been a disaster. Jeff Fisher's probably on the hot seat, but I'm picking New England to just dominate. I mean, Tom Brady may have not had Gronkowski last week. Excuse me, the week before that. He may have a shortage on wide receivers, but last week, Malcolm Mitchell, the rookie out of Georgia, he really stepped it up last week. I like New England to just dominate all over these Rams. All right, the Detroit Lions versus the New Orleans Saints. This is an interesting matchup. In fact, this could be considered an upset pick of the week. I'm picking the Saints over the Lions because I just think that those wide receivers in New Orleans, I think Drew Brees is going to have a nice filled day in the Superdome. I mean, I like him to have 3 touchdown passes, probably 300 yards. I think the Lions will push them to the limit, but I think the Saints will win in the end. But the Buffalo Bills versus the Oakland Raiders. Now, the Oakland Raiders are one of the hottest teams in the NFL. In fact, the top 3 hottest teams in the NFL right now are the Cowboys, Raiders, and Dolphins. And I'm picking Oakland in this game. It's going to be a great matchup, especially watching these wide receivers going at it against this Buffalo secondary. It's going to be a good one to watch. I think Derek Carr's going to have a field day on this Bills defense, and I like him to win big. Right, the Redskins versus the Cardinals. This is kind of a difficult game to pick because both these teams this year, you don't know what to expect out of them. They're either going to put up a bunch of points or they're just going to come out flat. But I'm picking the Redskins to win because they kind of had a morale victory against the Cowboys. I mean, they kind of exploited the Cowboys not having a good defense because Kirk Cousins put up 449 passing yards on that Cowboy secondary. He gets another huge test against the Cardinals secondary led by Patrick Peterson and Tyrann Mathieu. So that is going to be a great match to watch, especially having Deshaun Jackson, Pierre Garçon, Jordan Reed going up against that huge secondary. But I think Kirk Cousins is going to make a clutch 2-minute drive at the end of this game to win. Now, in my opinion, this is the game of the week. The New York Giants taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, this is going to be a great game to watch. I mean, I would actually pay money to see this game. I'd pay a bunch to watch this. I'd pay about $500 just for a ticket to this game to watch Odell Beckham and Antonio Brown in person, going at it head to head. The 2 best receivers in the NFL, 2 of the best receivers in the NFL, if not the 2 best. But in the end, I think the Giants will be unable to slow down Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to win in the end, because the Pittsburgh Steelers still have playoff hopes, and so do the Giants. But I think Pittsburgh just needs to win more, and they're going to realize that. And I think they're going to pick up that W. Right, Tampa Bay and San Diego. Now, Tampa Bay is coming off a big upset win against Seattle last week. In fact, only allowing 5 points against Seattle. And 2 of the points were for a holding in the end zone. So technically, the Buccaneers defense only allowed 3 points against an explosive Seattle team. And I think the difference in the game is going to be Mike Evans. And that's probably the greatest. Jameis Winston and Mike Evans, that's going to be a deadly combination for the next 2 years. I mean, guarantee it. If it's not already deadly. So I like Tampa Bay to win this one huge. Doug Martin's kind of healthy. He's been back. I like Tampa Bay to get a huge win to stay in the NFC South race. All right, this is the Sunday night game. The Carolina Panthers, kind of a depleted and defeated Carolina Panthers team at this point, who are 3-7 or 4-7, taking on the Seattle Seahawks, who are trying. I think Seattle's going to come out angry in this one. I mean, they're back in front of the 12th man. They're going to be wild. I think Carolina will be able to win the game, but I just can't go against Seattle. I'm going to pick them to win this one. I think it's going to be them coming out angry. It's going to be a huge difference. All right, finally the Monday night game. Now, I do not like this matchup at all, especially on a Monday night. Indianapolis versus the New York Jets. Are you kidding me? I mean, there are better matchups for this. You could have put Kansas City, Atlanta Monday night. You could have put Houston, Green Bay Monday night. You could have put even Detroit, New Orleans Monday night. I mean, that's just so lame. But I'm going to pick the Jets in this one because I think the Colts are just honestly defeated. I mean, many teams are defeated. I've been saying it for weeks. that a bunch of teams are defeated, like the Jaguars, Colts, Bengals, Bears, 49ers, even Cleveland. Alright, so keeping score at home, let's try to go 15-0 this week. I got Dallas, Atlanta, Baltimore, Chicago, Philadelphia, Green Bay, Denver, New England, New Orleans, Oakland, Washington, Steelers, Tampa Bay, Seattle, and the New York Jets all winning this week. That'll do it. Comment your picks below. If you disagree on some picks, comment below why you think. There's some people that like to do that, and I appreciate that. Like, subscribe to the channel, share this with your friends, family, whoever. Share it on social media. I will see you in a little bit for the College Football Playoff Week 5 Playoff Ranking Reaction. It's going to be a good one, so I will see you there. I will see you in a little bit.